Well, to shed more light, CEO of Gulf State Analytics, Giorgio Cafiero, joins us now from Washington, D.C. Good to speak to you, Giorgio. So your first thoughts on that statement and speech?
Well, Pompeo certainly took advantage of this opportunity to do two things that Donald Trump often does: target Iran very aggressively and offer a complete repudiation of his predecessor, Barack Obama. I think obviously Mike Pompeo's speech, as your previous guest said, needs to be understood within the context of major damage control that's going on. Some recent tweets from the American president have created a tremendous amount of confusion in the Middle East. Allies as well as foes do not know what the U.S. plans to do in northern Syria or when it plans to execute this discussed withdrawal. And Pompeo is really here delivering this speech to sort of double down on the policies of this administration that defined it previously, with a real focus on this concept of an Arab NATO. The administration still believes that it's very realistic for all of the GCC countries, Egypt and Jordan, despite the political differences between them, to create this anti-Iranian force that will be capable of addressing ongoing security threats in the region and push back against Iran.
So, Giorgio, I mean, not just about Syria, but from that speech, do you get a sense of foreign policy strategy?
Well, this speech provides a lot of rhetoric. The question is, how can all of this rhetoric from Pompeo translate into sound, understandable policies in the region? Again, as I mentioned a moment ago, when it comes to Arab NATO, I think there are many reasons to doubt whether or not this idea is even realistic. We're very strong from the rhetoric, but I still didn't get anything from the speech or really anything from other officials in this administration to lead me to believe that this White House has any sort of a cohesive foreign policy in the region.
So you did mention a lot about increased cooperation. What does it mean by that, especially coalition and working with partners along the way?
In Pompeo's speech, he spoke about a problem among Arab states whereby there are old rivalries that undermine the Arab states' ability to push back against the expansion of Iranian influence. Clearly, the Secretary of State was making a reference to the crisis in the GCC that erupted in the middle of 2017 that has left the GCC as essentially a dormant and ineffectual institution. This is a major source of frustration for the Trump administration, which would like to see Riyadh, Abu Dhabi, Cairo on one hand, resolving their differences with Doha on the other, so that this concept of uniting America's Arab allies against the Islamic Republic can begin to be more of a possibility rather than in an idea that's totally unrealistic. Again, there are other rivalries in the region, but there's no doubt that the blockade of Qatar, as of now, seems to really be the main stumbling block to this idea of an Arab NATO.
Well, thank you very much for that insight there, Giorgio Cafiero.